Last time, on the strangest roller coaster on Planet Coaster. This time, who the f would use this? So yeah, one of my previous videos covered the Pioneer Coaster, which is a free swinging coaster which was very strange and unique as there was only one other of its make in real life. However, there's also another very strange and unique Planet Coaster roller coaster which I had not covered and which I honestly completely forgot about because of how little it is actually used in the game. In fact, I reckon that less people use this coaster type in game because of how kind of strange and how difficult it is to actually build. But yeah, the coaster trains aren't as interesting as the geese on the previous one, so I'll just reveal what it is. It's called the Star Loop. Power up. Now, the coaster trains appear to be, a bit normal. It's like a normal ride car. Maybe a little bit different, but anyway. But the main gimmick is this vertical lift into this upside down bit of the lift. Yeah, I don't get it. The fact that you can't build a normal lift hill without the upside down bit, or a launch, is probably the reason why this ride is so rare when you come across Planet Coaster Creations. But yeah, I mean, on roller coasters, people don't particularly like going up vertically, from what I hear, and double that with then going upside down into some strange inversion, which it kind of defaults to, just makes it something that's very undesirable to make. I feel like a lot of people with their Planet Coaster Creations like the freedoms that they can have while making whatever lift hill height and angle they want, making it either vertical or whatever, but they don't like the limitations in making the chain lift go upside down. But actually, if you get past the inversion on the lift hill, then you can make the coaster however you want. The only downside is you practically only get one train per coaster. Yeah, there's no block sections. I also figured out that the only setting that the coaster can be on is lapping. That's because when the train's done its proper cycle, it can rock back and forth. But yeah, those might be the reasons why people generally don't make them. But also, the other reason could be, where do they come from in real life? Because a lot of Planet Coaster Creations come from familiar coasters people ride. But where does this one come from? I don't know. Actually, I do know, and I'll show you now. So yeah, this ride is called the Sky Loop, and it is manufactured by a company called Marelson. And on RCDB, which is the roller coaster database, they've got accounts of 22 of these coasters. 22! Now, if there's genuinely 22 Skyloops, then there's nearly as many Skyloops in the world than Gerstlauer Eurofighters. Actually, checking further, there might be some dodgy knockoff coasters. If that's the case, there's only 11 of them. For the most part, they don't seem to be particularly popular within the Western world. Like, there's only a few in Europe and one in America. The majority of them are in China.
我现在我有冰淇淋，我很喜欢冰淇淋，但是速度与激情就比冰淇淋。
Yeah, the dodgy ones seem like they are being made by a company called Beijing Shabalai Amusement Equipment. However, I guess because Planet Coaster is not associated to a particular brand or company, then I guess they still apply to the in-game Star Loop. But what they all have in common, whether it's Mara making them, or a Chinese company making a dodgy version of them, and for the most part they all have a very similar layout, which is this one, which is not very exciting, but at least for the most part they all seem to go up to 151 feet and have a top speed of 65 miles per hour. However, while 10 of these Mara Skyloops follow this same layout, there is one which, at least from what I found, goes against the standard layout. And it is in a land far more formidable than Sweden. And that place is Spain. Yeah, this one's at a park called Parc de Atracciones de Madrid. And the ride is called Abismo. Hopefully it's not abysmal. No, actually the ride looks pretty good. It has the general sort of sky loop inversion, but then it has a couple more overbanks and an airtime hill, which in my opinion, makes the ride a lot more fun. And believe it or not, in the Planet Coaster blueprints for roller coasters, the general one that Frontier put in when you have the game, it actually pays homage to this layout, so fair enough on them. Alright, so I'll finish off with some ones that I've made earlier in the game. This one, yeah, it goes up, there we go, we're at the top. And then you do a little corkscrew, down, back up, back down, into a loop, and then into a cobra roll, which I thought is a pretty good layout for something like this. Oh, a little airtime hill as well, just to top it all off. Now this one, I honestly think is just not very good. There we go, at the top now. So you do your usual little loop, like on all the other ones. And then you go down into hell. Okay, so twist, twist, then you go into the station. Yeah, I don't like that one as much. So yeah, that was the Star Loop, or what is known in real life, the Sky Loop. But in my opinion, in Planet Coaster, this is by far the worst coaster type. I mean, it's probably equivalent to Roller Coaster Tycoon's Heartline coaster in how sort of bad and not very useful it actually is. But, as covered before, at least there are some redeeming factors.